Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, May 11th. We have lots and lots of stuff to do and lots of news to cover. I need to play one more Murloc, which I'll do that later. Right now, let's try to get 3 victories with the Sherlock, Shaman, or Warlock decks. And we're going to play ranked to see if we can get up to rank 20, I guess. Here we are approaching about 4 days away from the midpoint of the month, and we haven't made it to rank 20. So where really is the hope that you would make it even up to rank 18 or 15 when it knocks you back down so far and made it even more difficult to get up at higher positions? I was doing better on the old system when it required fewer stars to get up in rank. And you can certainly... every few days now I hear a different story from a different podcast of somebody who is just like not happy with Hearthstone and giving it up. And that is not good for the game if everybody's mad at it. Anyways, I really don't have time to talk about speculation about the many problems of Hearthstone. That hopefully they could put somebody new in charge instead of Ben Brode, and now that he's gone, and find somebody that's got some new ideas and is going to improve things. The first game we have on Steam is called Mary Glade. This is a kind of different looking game. Looks like a 1990s PC game. One screen. But also I'm not really sure what it is. But it looks really cutesy, but it's violent. It's literally 1% off for $2.96, which, like, that's insane too. Like, I wouldn't even think that they would do that. They also have them advertising a different game called The Magic Silence. I don't see anything in this game that catches my attention, is the problem, and it's from a developer who's made quite a few games that have been neutral, and they all have this almost MS Paint like simplicity to their animation. So this guy clearly needs an animator before he can make something good looking. There's a few of his games that are rated positively too, so I wouldn't say this is a complete bad job of development. So there probably is something to the way these games play, but nope, I do not see anything visual to this game called Mary Glade. It's just not visually appealing, so I'm gonna close it and move on. I am going to try rather hard to not spend a lot of time looking at games. That way we can burn through the news a little bit faster. It seems a little strange that so many games came out, considering we are approaching E3 and there should be less games coming up, but maybe this is the time when the small indie people that put out random games on Steam are trying to get them out of the way for big announcements that will at the very least suck out all the air as far as attention away from new games. Like, even if there was no new games to be able to be purchased the days that E3 is happening, the buzz and the talk about new games that will come out in several months would probably take away people's focus from looking at Steam and buying random new things. TechRaptor has a article, new units coming to Wild West Exodus, Hex Union, and Warrior Nation. I have no idea what Wild West Exodus is, but it seems like it's some kind of combination of a lot of different things. I'm seeing an Indian Native American woman in native dress with a blindfold and what I think is a lightsaber or just laser blast of some sort. And on the other side you have a militaristic Confederate soldier that, let's see, supposed to be playing Battlecry cards twice. Do I have any elementals? Yeah, I don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and attack this. And then the turn. Yeah, it's a Confederate soldier with what looks like modern military items on it. And then I scroll down and the next thing I see is a monstrous, like, hellspawn blob of flesh creature. And then I scroll down further and there's a picture of a, like, giant spider monster. And see, I don't know if this is actually a video game or if this is some kind of tabletop game, because I'm seeing a lot of statistics and numbers. And is this on Steam? Is this a real game? Like, that's the thing I don't want to have happen is that we're once again in a position where there's a considerably large amount of articles I'm getting that are based on, like, tabletop games. Let's see, I just don't. Maybe you only play this game through Facebook? Yeah, the problem with these articles inherently is that they don't. Okay, at the top it says tabletop features, tabletop games. Okay, that explains why I don't know what this game is. And see, I've just wasted time reading about a tabletop game. To be fair, it would be interesting to see this game turned into some kind of video game, and maybe it will in the future, but we don't really see a direct instance of that happening. Most of the time, it is limited to very rarely actually are there tabletop games that get popular enough and then get converted into PC games or mobile games, and it's usually something that's pretty simplistic when it is converted. And the concept alone, I guess you really don't need the license of a tabletop game to make a game where you had people from all different genres built around the Wild West in particular, and then give them lightsabers and modern weaponry. You can write that story yourself without having to really license it from somebody else, which inherently that is also my question when I see American McGee is trying to license Alice for Alice Madness Returns sequel, which I believe is tentatively titled right now Alice Alice Asylum. Like, he's trying to kickstart to make a game's pitch to get the license to the Alice character, who is the character from Alice in Wonderland. So inherently he could just write an Alice in Wonderland game. I don't think he actually needs the license. I think he could do things differently. And inherently, so many people immediately use Alice in Wonderland. They miss out on some opportunities where you could do a character very similar to Alice, just from a different culture's story. I'm sure you could find some character in the Greek pantheon that would be similar enough in ancient Greek storytelling, or in Viking storytelling, or Chinese storytelling. Anyways, I'm kind of ranting on that. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article, Worlds Adrift Early Access trailer shows off more airship shenanigans. I wanted to see this trailer because I've heard of Worlds Adrift. I know that PC Gamer has probably hyped me up on this game, and I would like to just remind myself what it is and what it is all about. Well, it looks interesting. This does. Maybe it's a bit too much of a survival Minecraft game. It has some of those elements while you're also platforming and going through different places. I have yet to really see a single player experience where there was a lot of survival crafting stuff that that you would need to learn those systems, play with those systems for the time you're playing the main game, but then you eventually just finish the main game and you're done. If games invest in a survival mechanism, it is there particularly so you continuously play the game forever. And right now I'm left with a very conflicting ideas about what Worlds Adrift is supposed to be. I'm seeing very cinematic experiences, but I'm also seeing some crafting stuff. I suppose in most RPGs there are small instances in which you collect items and craft, or turn in items and have some kind of smith craft something for you. Worlds Adrift seems to be heavily built around flying in planes, and also you can jump out of planes, and also you can swing via rope. Which the beginning of this trailer was showing off land-based structures that you were going to investigate and look at, and then the second part of this trailer is really focused around the shifting. So I still really don't know what Worlds Adrift is, and it's going to launch on Steam on May 18th. So, I mean May 17th. So we're still going to have to think about what it is. Draw the lowest cost minion in your deck. So that's another one of those PC Gamer articles that really just wasted my time. Next game we have on Steam is called The Mystery of Devil's House. It's got that dark screenshot syndrome. It looks like it's a top-down RPG Maker game. A lot of menus on the screen everywhere. It says it's an action indie platformer with a retro aesthetic. Maybe it's a side-scrolling platformer. Instead of being top-down, I can't even really see. 20% off for 79 cents. And in the description, they're advertising 3 other games. Is that the new trick that people are trying to do? Is that they release one game and then in the description of that one game they advertise their other games and do some deep linking webbing? That way, whatever of their games you see, you're seeing advertisements for all the other games. None of the 5 games that are available, 4 of which are on sale right now by this developer, have any rating. And I can generally say that none of them look visually appealing, and that would explain it. That it's really not an issue of I don't know how to say this properly. It's just not even an issue of needing a specialized skill to see that a lot of the games on Steam are just not good quality. Like it really is just a simple 5-second glance on most games go, this does not look great, and that should be counted maybe as strike 1 of a through strike system to say this game is just too low quality, we're not going to sell it. And maybe there is somebody that's looking at these games and they're not promoting them, but they're still having them on their store. They're still flooding their marketplace with them. I see no reason to wishlist The Mystery of Devil's House. So let's move on to the next game. Next game is called Frightened Beetles. What kind of game is this? The animation looks a little simplistic, but it also seems like it has shadowing and shading and detail, which implies to me an actual level of skill that you could accidentally overlook. Seems like you're playing some kind of puzzle game where you're trying to frighten the beetles on the screen. Apparently it's a free-to-play game. It's from the same person who had made Mary Glade, and they may have made this game free-to-play specifically to advertise their new game. And I didn't think Mary Glade was worth playing, but Frightened Beetles kind of looks like it might be worth playing, particularly since the price is right at free. So instead of agonizing on whether or not to suggest that game, I'm just gonna say it's free. If a game called Frightened Beetles seems interesting with the concept of, it says it's a free-to-play casual adventure indie game. It seems like the idea is to either not frighten the beetles or frighten the beetles. If that sounds like interesting, check it out, I would say. Moving on. Next game we have is called Wrong World, and it's 3D animations of characters that are done in, you'd almost call it a odd cartoony style. Like this feels almost like an artistic style and not just the unintentional outcome of somebody who is very bad at making animations. All the characters have bulging out eyeballs, and it's kind of like the 3D equivalent of googly eyeballs. It feels like this is one of those open world games where you build it all yourself. Yeah, this is definitely one of those construction games where you just build the world and add a bunch of elements. It's trying to probably be way too much, and frankly the artistic style I don't think is appealing enough. It would be something that would be fine to watch for some kind of silly YouTube video for 10-20 minutes, but any longer than that it's just gonna look wrong. 20% off for $11.99, and it says it's leaving early access, so they say it's not in early access. This is one of those games where I'd go look at the negative review and read that and give a more detailed explanation why I think Wrong World is not good, but I'm just gonna save time and skip that. This is the first game from this developer too, which you really can't make a full fleshed out game that's an open world survival game as your first game. Notch can do it, but nobody else. That's my stance I'm gonna take on that. I'm not willing to trust that anybody else is gonna get lucky, particularly since Minecraft was new and unique, and anybody trying to ape or steal concepts from Minecraft now is not gonna get anywhere with that. PC Gamer has an article, you can now gift PC games on the Microsoft Store. I guess that's nice, but I'm pretty sure if you gift games on the Microsoft Store, you're not gifting them as a Steam code, you are gifting them as a you're gifting them as a Windows Store game. PC Gamer has the review for Murderous Pursuits, giving it a 49, which is an incredibly low review rating. The verdict is there's potential for amusing cat and mouse exchanges, but the lobby full of humans is hard to find. So, Murderous Pursuits, I'm gonna have to double check to make sure I didn't have that on my wish list. I may have. It did look like an interesting game, but if it's multiplayer only, that ruins it and makes it. There we go. Moving on to the next thing. There was a mention of an update for OpenLARA, L-A-R-A, which is a Lara Croft emulator for the first 3 games of Lara Croft, which is interesting considering how that company came out and said, we're going to release new engines that run Lara Croft, and then Square Enix, the owners of Lara Croft, said, no, you're not authorized to do any of that, because they really made a press release basically saying we're gonna do this and didn't bother to get permission. It was rather the odd exchange, certainly, and I imagine they were negotiating in the background and something fell through. That's the only thing I can imagine. But meanwhile, OpenLore, which is going the other route and saying we're going to do it regardless of what Square Enix wants because this is just an emulator running game files and you can't stop us, has a new update. It'd be interesting to see if the emulator can get integrated into RetroPie and you could play them on Raspberry Pi, Warcraft 1, 2, or 3. I guess it really doesn't matter for my case. If I did want to play the original 3 Tomb Raider games, that would be probably the way I would do it, is with the new version of OpenLore, because I suspect whatever I have on Steam is just not going to run very well, although I would have to do some comparison. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to even justify playing any more Tomb Raider games. Like, maybe it'll struggle with Shadow of the Tomb Raider when it comes out and the new things, but as somebody who hasn't played the old games ever, they really just fall into this category of they're too old and it's really not worth my time when I could be playing other newer games to go back and try and retroactively play something that may be a classic but would also be a hassle to get running. However, for people that are fans of the original Tomb Raider games, OpenLore is your choice if you're going to use RetroArch, playing it on a PC, getting into all of that and figuring out how all of that works would be my recommendation. Next game we have on Steam is called Guns Battle Royale. Anything with Battle Royale you kind of know is a half-assed attempt at copying Battle Royale, Fortnite, PUBG, all of that. So this is from a developer who's made 4 games, 2 of which are mixed and 2 don't have any reviews. And this game looks awful. It's clearly just trying to cash in. There's really no reason to give it any more attention. It's $11.89, I think. So we can just move on. I don't need to really draw a card. Next game we have on Steam is called Star Speeder. It's like you're driving a car in this game down a fast-moving light path like an infinite runner. Except for the car, it's kind of just jumping from lane to lane. So there's a left lane, a middle lane, and a right lane. And so the car doesn't... It's not going up a ramp or anything. It's just hopping. And acting really out of the nature of what you would expect a car to do. Seems like it's $2.90. It has no reviews. All the screenshots look pretty much exactly the same, except for there's different colored lanes. So there's a screenshot of a pink car on a yellow lane, a screenshot of a pink car on a green lane, a screenshot of a car on a blue lane. Very simplistic designed game. First game from this developer. Yes, nothing interesting to say about Star Speeder. Close that. Here's a game that actually looks like a game. It's called Veilguard. It looks like a real-time strategy, build up your village type game. Ages of Empires. Let's see. Choose a basic totem. And that. And that. Do I have any elementals in my hand? Let's see. So when I get to a game that actually looks like a real game, the critical eye that I have becomes a lot more strained, particularly with the way the screens are not zoomed in. Then it's just too much of an effort to zoom in every single page before closing it. So I'd say if you want a real-time strategy game for 10% off for $11.69, maybe you would consider this. But only for the people that have not played Ages of Empires, not played StarCraft, not played Warcraft. Like, there's rather a high collection of sort of darn it. Should have stolen a card. Like, yeah, I can't say Veilguard is the one they even pick because it's the only game from this developer. And it doesn't seem like they're doing anything really different. They're just not doing anything wrong. They're making a good quality Age of Empires style game. It looks like that at least. And I'm not really an expert enough to say, well, this obviously doesn't have this mechanic or that mechanic, and because it doesn't have those mechanics, the game is actually inferior. To me, from my appearance, it looks just fine. Let's try another Murloc game to play that one last Murloc. Personally, though, I don't have enough time to play a lot of these games over the course of my gaming career, for as long as that goes. I don't think I have enough time to say play an extra one. I'll probably play StarCraft. I'll probably play Warcraft at some point. But Command and Conquer, I already own those, and I know Command and Conquer is slightly different experience than Age of Empires because there's less building in Command and Conquer and long-term planning. But I already have some of those games, at least the PC ones. So maybe I will get down to the point where there's just entire genres and styles of games that I'll just say, look, I've got 100 of these on my collection already. There's no way for me to justify purchasing another one or suggest playing one. Next game we have is called The Hardest Dungeon. It suffers from dark screenshot syndrome again. It looks like it's a top-down action adventure RPG. Best as I can tell, it is kind of like an RPG Maker pixel game. It probably isn't an RPG Maker because I think this game probably does move a lot faster. But it's $2.89 and just doesn't look too good. It's the second game from this developer, and to be fair, their first game is rated positively, so that says something nice, I suppose. Let's see. Give a friendly minion. Divine Shield. But nope, I'm going to reject The Hardest Dungeon. Wednesday was a little bit of a weird day for just how many games ended up actually making it to the wish list. There was almost 10 or 12 that caught my eye. Today seems like it is going to be very much in line with our previous experiences, where it is a high ratio of 25, 30, maybe even 50 bad games to one game that's even worth playing or looking at. Next game we have is a game called Match Connect Challenge. It seems like it is a mix between something sort of like Tetris and Match 2 game. In a weird way, it kind of is something unique that I haven't seen before. That being said, this really does look like a mobile one-screen game. It's 25% off for $1.49, and I feel like the price is a little too high. It's from a developer who's put out a considerably high number of games. I'd say 30, 40, maybe a lot more. Apparently it goes on to the next page. At least one entire page on Steam's worth of games, and there's not a single game that is rated higher than mixed, with most of the games not being rated at all. So yes, we can close that. I'm taking little breaks in my conversations because I'm playing the game and trying to do everything else, and my TV's flickering poorly right now too. Gamer Sutra has an article. Little Orbit has acquired gamers' first online game portal and APB Reloaded. That is probably not much of an acquisition, but it's one small company buying another small company would be my argument. I play this. Let's see. Play this. And play this. And then play here, 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 there, and victory. How come I can get victories on the Murloc deck and not on anything else? See, that's the problem with these HS replay decks, at least for my Asian account, is I don't know how to play them. I just don't know the strategy, and because of that, I'm not really getting victories. And I'm better off, even as a person who's been playing nearly in the entire life of Hearthstone. I've been playing Hearthstone. Just kind of missed out maybe 6 months to a year in the beta. Even now, I still don't know how to play decks that are built for me. I only know how to play decks that I build. And because there are just concepts and styles of play that I won't ever consider doing. Particularly the slower, more strategic gameplay styles. And I ideally want to just push and play cards until I can win or lose and just keep the game playing quickly. The next game we have on Steam is called Iron Ball. It is an Arkanoid clone, it seems. But at the very least, I need to be fair with this and say this is a very interesting looking Arkanoid clone. It is animated very well, 3D like laser graphics, and it seems like there's potentially more than just your standard Arkanoid gameplay happening. It seems like there might be some laser mechanics and boss battles and all kinds of things in this. It's not on sale at all, and I think it's going for $6.99 and no reviews. Seems like a really high process. Iron Ball 2 Ion Storm is rated positively, and there's one other game they've released called Purgatory Wall of the Damned. So where's Iron Ball 1? I guess it's not on Steam. I can't reject this game just because it looks like an Arkanoid clone. I think it's doing something bigger than that. And so I'm gonna actually leave this game that is very questionable on my wish list to see if somebody will write some reviews and help me make a better decision later. There. Well, there's the secret to my success in, I would say, probably 30% of all my victories in Hearthstone is people conceding and getting bored. Which is a very sad statement. Next game we have is called 2236 AD. Let's just scroll down and make sure this is in English. Yes, it is English and Japanese. It is, let's see, indie, casual with nudity and sexual content. I'm pretty sure this is a visual novel. The thing I would say about this animation style is it is a little bit flat. So it feels like another one of these visual novels from a Japanese creator who's not been animating too long or has a very unique style that's just not in line. And the artistic style is a little bit different. There's a standard long-haired, long-haired girl, a blonde-haired, long-haired girl. There's a short-haired, black-haired girl. This looks like this might be a horror game, but you're not seeing any bows. You're not seeing any bright pinks, blues, or crazy colors. You're not seeing any of the animation style that is the modern animation style of all the anime characters being shorter and cutesy. These are closer to early 80s animation style characters where they were drawn taller and more realistic. And for that art style alone, if you're into visual novels, I would say maybe check this one out. It's the first game from this developer. It does have a free demo. The publisher has published a lot of other visual novels that are all very positive, and or Japanese games. That's really the sad statement. The truth is, sex sells. It just does. You can try and hide it all you want, but these romance sex visual novels, when done at a moderately high quality, and when they're not just cheap, awful garbage, they sell on Steam and they get rated highly. So people know what they're getting and they're happy with what they're getting. Which is to say quite a lot, honestly, because you just wouldn't, honestly, you really wouldn't like these games. Yeah, I guess that's the best word. Is if a visual novel was just a visual novel and it didn't have an interesting story, or it didn't have that romance, sex, dating element to it, you wouldn't play that kind of game. You just wouldn't. It would be too boring, too slow. This game, as I'm looking at the trailer, reminds me of a lot of the anime Serial Experiments Lane, and I think I might put it on my wish list, but I mostly don't put visual novels on wish lists. But I think I might put this on my wish list just to keep an eye on it and see. Can't play anything, can I? Darn it. End of turn. The GameStop CEO, Michael Mauler, M-A-U-L-E-R. Is that Mueller or Mauler? Has resigned after 3 months. So, I don't think you really have to know too much of a backstory there. GameStop is a troubled company that is going to consistently be in trouble for a good amount of time. Like GameStop isn't going to succeed. Well, it does have the slight chance of succeeding if GameStop expanded itself into more of a toy store, which it was already going that direction anyways. If it bought out a significant portion of the inventory, I would say that trying to buy the video games that are going on sale and being clearanced from Toys R Us and buying a lot of the toys from Toys R Us does open the door for it to well, boy, I'm having trouble talking today, aren't I? It allows you to expand into a more varied market. I would still say that the bookstores like Barnes and Noble are better off expanding into toys and would do better than the GameStop stores, but frankly, a merger between GameStop and Barnes and Noble might be pretty great. Two separate stores that then become a mixed entertainment type. Maybe you change it from Barnes and Noble to being Barnes and Noble and Games, or something like that. Whoever becomes the next CEO of GameStop will have the same struggles. A dwindling sales of physical media, and a lot of stores across the United States that poorly underemploy a lot of people that barely have a job there. That's at least my understanding of it. Is you kind of barely have a job if you work at GameStop. It's just in that. It could very possibly hurt the video game industry if GameStop went out of business, but I don't think it really would hurt it too much, and it might push just more people to play PC games, which might push the better development of better PC ports. Let's see. Let's do this. And then do this. And then end the turn. I've decided to mute Weird Al Yankovic on my Twitter stream. No real reason for it. He's just tweets about his shows and his tweets don't. I'm not gonna actually go to any of his shows. So I'm just cleaning up my Twitter feed to have only video game news on it. So I didn't really even need to mention that. But I figured I would. Why not? Why not be honest? Let's see. Let's see if I now play this. And then end my turn. Eurogamer has an article. Rocket League will get cross-platform party support and a Rocket Pass this summer. If I was really reading articles today, which I'm not, I imagine we're going to find out that cross-platform support is not going to include Xbox players playing with PlayStation players still, because that is the groundbreaking element that we're still waiting for Sony to allow is, can you will you finally let people from on different consoles play each other? And the idea of a Rocket Pass doesn't sound great. Sounds like it's a microtransaction if I've ever heard of it. Let's see. Next game we have on Steam is called Speed Jump. It does look nice, but it does also very much seem like it is a sort of different spin on a Super Meat Boy type platformer. It's a little different. It's 20% off for $1.59. It's voxel-based graphics, jumping around platforms that seem to change on occasion. Inherently, it still feels like a lot of these Super Meat Boy clones are in no way higher quality than what Super Meat Boy was, and they don't generally seem like they understand the concept, and I would argue that this one seems similar to that. No reviews for this game. Let's see. First game from this developer. Again, this looks like a game that, if it was a school project, would have gotten you an A, certainly, unless it was your final thesis or something. But there's nothing special about it to make it feel justifiable as something that should be on sale on Steam. Like, I have this fictitious feeling about Steam where I put it in very high regard when in all actuality I know for a fact it really has never been the place for high quality and only high quality products. It's just been the place for everything. Probably should have just played that. Yeah, I can't recommend Speed Jump, even though it looks pretty nice. You'd have to be scraping the bottom of the barrel of other games before I could suggest that. This will be our last game for this recording, by the way. Gematsu has an article. New Sakura Wars game due out March 31st, 2019. Let's see if we can get any actual details. Let's see. still no official titles or platforms. So they really just said, yeah, we're making a Sakura Wars game. It's coming out 2019 in a financial presentation. Right, let's close that article. Next game we have on Steam is called Dino Draw. It looks like MS Paint level graphics. You could almost call it an art style, but not really. It's just bad graphics. Only game from this developer. 10% off. I believe they're asking $4.24 for it, which is a ridiculously high price for the hideous appearance. Looks like something like a platformer designed specifically for kids and only kids. And yeah, there's really just nothing to like looking at it. See, how are we on articles? I've still got, you know, the funny thing, come to think of it, is because now my monitor is on regular dots per inch, that means the tab icons and everything are not as big, which means more tabs can be shown at the top of Chrome than ever before. And still, from the point I'm at, which is about a quarter of the screen starting from the left to all the way to the right, is more games that came out for Steam, more things to talk about. And unless I went into some memory lapses and opened the same pages twice, multiple times, it certainly feels like there's at least another 2 hours of just covering games. Meanwhile, to be fair, we're not really going to get anywhere with these victories. It's going to be a nightmare, and if we are going to do a post-show, I'd prefer to try and get victories during the post-show. So I'm going to end this recording. Let's see if we've got anything that needs to be marked off as new, because that bug never really seems like it's fixed. Yep, new cards always getting, old cards always getting marked off like they're new or versions. Yeah, so let's move over to the European account and try to make some more progress there. I guess it would be helpful every Friday to make sure nobody sent me a friend request without letting me know. That's it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, gift me a game or a gift card on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.